We're not gonna be home. We're not gonna be home.
Oh, okay. You're coming to, you're not coming here.
I can't walk here. We're going to Deshevsky and then Scott.
Okay, good, nice. All right, everybody. So much for all the good news that's out there.
Now that we're in great spirits.
Welcome to the, well, that's what you said.
Yeah.
What were you talking about also? Welcome to the Garden of the Spirit, a class studying apples from the orchard. This class meets in Long Meadow, Massachusetts, and is held in memory of Malka Ruth, Bas Moshe, Margaret Vogel of blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contains selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. I should add that at this point, we leave behind the falsche Welt, the false world. We enter the world of truth. No Mishigas here. Only holy Mishigas.
Yeah.
No worldly Mishigas. Forget all your troubles. Okay, wonderful.
Jump in
Pass.
head first. Jump in head
Jump.
first.
Jump in head first.
Hey, like the Alfie Coleman last night.
You're right.
Ishkafa. We had Ishkafa to steal the Alfie Coleman. Ishkafa? Ishkafa. I-S-K-A-F-Y-A. Ishkafa.
Okay.
It's Kapia.
Ishkafia.
Yeah.
Is.
Iskafia.
Okay.
Ishkafia. We had Shimon Jacobson wrote the JLI. He likened the taking of the Afikoman to Ishkafia
Yeah.
because not
1 second. Iskafia is to force yourself to do what's right.
Yeah, you're
To
fleeing.
overcome.
Flee from Egypt.
To subdue your
Restrain.
urges.
Your
Restrain.
bestial self. So the evil, you're fleeing from Egypt, Ishkafia. You're fleeing from Egypt, you're fleeing, but you're going to grab holiness as much as you can. So you're taking the
just
Afikoman.
grab.
You grab it.
So grabbing means that you don't
can't-
follow protocol.
You're not following protocol. You're jumping over the gates. You're
Because you
going
gotta
for the
run
light.
away from the
You gotta
Egypt.
run away from the evil. So
You just,
gotta-
always what I learned, I hate soccer. But the few little bit that I played is when that ball comes near the goal, just get it out.
Get it out.
Get it out of the red zone.
Or
So this was
hurt the player that's coming this. I'm sorry.
Kick him, kick him in the shin.
All right.
Okay, just get it out of the red zone.
so this.
Okay, that's
this
fine.
was good. This was.
I
good.
love this,
was
Jim.
a
And you
good-
know what?
This was a good.
You
word.
you learned a new word, and now you're going to live with that
Oh,
word.
I love the word. I
That's
love the
great.
Word.
And
I
don't
love
worry, I
that.
can't pronounce it either.
I love the word. You think about this. We flee from evil like we flee from Egypt, but we also grab to holiness. We grab. We,
I-
like
I-
the Afikoman.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Fantastic. Ah,
I love when you find a new word, a new idea, and you live with it.
yeah.
Okay.
But the lower, that's where we are. Oi.
I don't remember what.
Yeah, a good place to start, right? So what we said. No,
We ended at the
no,
top of
we're near the
6:30.
top.
Top of
I
the
think we're
page.
right at the top.
Not yet.
To return to the topic. That's right. So
Interest.
last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
So-
Last week.
It's good to return to the topic.
Last week.
Last
We're
week.
returning to the topic.
Yes, we did.
Oh,
Oh, good point.
We did Kayan in the last couple of weeks. Kayan brought the
Flux.
flax.
Flax.
And he was trying
not
to
flax.
he was trying to de-feminize
Yeah,
the ground
right.
and develop it into a male aspect.
Yeah.
And we got through 2 weeks without going off on a tangent, thank God. And
Wait, tonight's young.
he was trying to do that. Hevel tried to counter that, or to respond to that, and so he brought the sheep.
Sheep.
So he said the sheep is keves, which is also kavash, to conquer, and shachav, to lie down. In other words, it would be intimacy in a holy,
In a holy way.
In a proper way.
proper in
way.
holiness. And what else? We said the
We
wool
talked
is
about-
semer.
Yeah, and the shofar from that also comes from the
The sheep.
Sheep.
And
is what?
That's what's taking place when he gives the sheep.
that's
Explain the shofar.
That shofar's from the sheep.
from the sheep. And it's also another word for shofar.
Narrow to
It's
wide.
stimulating.
It's-
It's stimulating.
It has the narrow hole and then
The
the
wide
the
hole.
wide hole,
Yeah.
like, I
Arafat
keep thinking
thing.
like the windows in the temple.
Yes. Yeah.
And you said something about chesed.
Oh, that was a different.
was-
And then, so go ahead. So
That was my
the,
father asking.
Okay,
me,
but-
the word for wool is semer,
In summer, yeah.
and semer scrambled is metzer. Metzer is Mitzrayim,
Mitzrayim,
and it also means the straits,
yeah, the straits.
like
Called
the
from
narrow
straits.
end of the shofar.
Called from the
We
straits.
say min hametzer karasi. I took call to God from the narrow end. Anani vamerchav, respond from the broad
The broad end, yeah.
place. So the narrow of the shofar is also related to the wool, which is tzemer, and then metzar, min hametzar.
I didn't get that connection. I thought it was just because the shofar comes from a keves.
No,
No.
It doesn't come from a keves, actually.
It does.
It
Yeah,
does.
From an
comes
adult.
From a
Adult
sheep.
Oh, a male sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Comes
guess it's
from
a
the
keves.
keves,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
keves.
But
So I thought
the-
that was
plus,
the bridge
plus
that I
the
got.
wool, double.
Right now.
But it also has
now-
connection to the
There
wool.
There were three things
Mitzar.
actually from the, three pieces from the wool. I thought from the sheep.
From the sheep.
Just turn
Three.
back
Yeah.
one page,
Three.
you see.
But this, so the wool is also connected to the shofar.
Right.
Semer,
Right.
Mitzar,
And then we said
that's it.
that the beard on the face,
Yeah, the face.
Parallels the beard
The
below.
how many
13. and
13 of the 13 attributes.
And
Yud
13
Gimel
below
Midas
also.
Rachamim. And the hair that's below is by the bris milah.
Right.
And what's bris milah?
Yes,
Yeah, so,
So
Yes, but it's also 13
The 13.
Yeah,
attributes.
should be-
covenants.
13
It's,
covenants.
it says the word bris 13 times in Hashem's
Right.
in the episode with Abraham.
Right. 13 covenants.
So that's the connection between the 13 covenants of the bris milah and the 13 attributes of compassion that are connected with the regular beard, the beard on the face.
Yeah,
And then we said that the divine flow
yeah.
comes from above to below, is from Chachma or Bina, and then goes down to,
Zeranpin.
which is from the narrow to the broad. For
Well,
Arachanpin,
Arachanpin, then Chacham Bina, then Zeranpin.
From Arahampin, from Keser,
Kesser.
and to the.
which is the narrow.
Which is the
Narrow.
narrow, and the supernal is really, in Atzilus, is Abba Ima, and which is connected to Hashem's essence, and then it flows down
Zeranpin.
to Zeranpin to Malchus, in the proper flow.
Okay.
Very nice.
And,
I had a
and
thought
from
on
the,
that.
woo, you know.
Yeah.
which is not the corner of the chamber. That's one
I
Sunday.
had a thought when we left last week that I shared with my father regarding the 13 and the 13.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that the 13 and 13 is Yud Kei Vav Kei, is
Right,
Hashem's
right.
name.
Right,
I said,
And you
Yes.
mentioned that. You said that when you
I didn't
asked
say it.
off, it's 26.
I did?
You
26, you said.
You said it's 26, which is Yud Kei Vav Kei, and I thought, spurred
I
in my
said that?
head. You did. You definitely did.
okay.
That when a man is with his wife, he should be having holy thoughts while he's with his wife. In which case he'd be connecting 13 to 13. The Baal Tanya says, probably quoting that Arizal, that the seed comes from the mind. So then he's making the Shem Yichud,
Yeah,
Yud Kei Vav Kei.
so the Abba
When
Ima.
he's thinking-
The Abba
I just thought that
Ima.
was
Alignment.
fascinating. He's
the
making
supernal
alignment.
There's alignment.
Supernal alignment.
During the physical action, he's making supernal
Right,
alignment.
with the masculine, feminine, with
Even within his own
Zeran
body.
and Malchus, with the physical as
Within-
well.
Well, I was saying within his own body.
With his own home body, spiritually,
making it
but
spiritual,
he's
yes.
making that alignment,
Yes,
so there's a
spiritual.
flow of the
Right.
beneficence.
Exactly, yeah.
So you had that idea after you left.
Yeah, it was already, all the pieces were already on the table.
So let me
inspired
ask
him.
you a question.
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate on the definition of holy thoughts?
Well, I mean, if you look in Shulchan Aruch,
Not unholy.
when you look in Shulchan
Not
Aruch, you
unholy.
could even think about halacha. You could be thinking about Or if you could get deeper. There's lots of different options. There's lots of different options for holy thoughts.
The answer is no.
No, there's
Okay.
a lot of
No,
different.
the
whole-
answer is you don't want to elaborate.
Oh yeah.
Holy thoughts.
I mean, if we
You
Isaac,
don't
you
want to
wanna,
respond.
holy thoughts.
You don't want to
Held at
respond.
gunpoint.
You don't want to respond.
You know what?
Holy-
No, no, no.
So I'll
That's the safe
clarify
answer here.
He's gonna give a serious.
that
answer.
holy thoughts are to that obviously a deep love, a deep caring
Yeah.
They're pure thoughts.
for the partner.
They're pure
For
thoughts.
the other.
Not selfish.
Right, not
Yeah.
selfish.
We learn that all the time with the whole beneficence is that it's not ego-based. It's caring for the other.
Caring for the other person, which means that there should be
Very nice.
the love part of the mitzvah is to make sure that everybody is relaxed.
And if that happened all the time, Jim would be out of a job.
That'd be good.
He'd be good.
That'd be good.
He'd be happy.
Mashiach will come.
To make sure that everybody is relaxed and calm and not harboring
Yeah.
bad feelings towards the other person.
Good.
So that's
For the
one,
other.
yeah, that's one thing. And also that this is for the sake of a mitzvah,
Right.
that through this we are fulfilling a mitzvah.
Yeah.
Okay? It doesn't mean that a person has to think that I just want to clarify also, that not that a person's supposed to say, I'm not doing this for myself, I'm not deriving pleasure from this. That's not in our
No.
doctrine.
We don't abnegate, we elevate.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to ask you
And
what abnegate means.
Abnegate is like
Use it in a sentence.
give up. Give up.
No, negate your,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
abnegate.
your own.
Abnegate. Very
Abnegate.
nice. I'll make sure to use that this week.
Give up.
Abnegate. We elevate.
Very nice. Abnegate.
Not abdicate, but
Abnegate. You give up.
abnegate means
Well,
to
you give up
suppress
your-
Suppress.
in a way.
Take away.
Possession.
not to
take
suppress.
away the part. It's like to destroy the
Like
flesh.
a
To den-
Iskafia almost.
To deny the existence.
To deny the, no, it's
Yes,
not-
it is. To abnegate your own self is iskafia.
Yeah,
But anyways, okay.
but this is more the flesh.
So that's where we were. Thank you, Yoel.
No problem.
Cool. Okay.
to return to our topic,
I just saw the word shalom bayis somewhere. Oh, I saw someone's giving a class on Pesach cleaning and shalom bayis. Or
Just-
preparing for Pesach with shalom bayis.
What can I do next? What can I do next?
Along a similar
Oh,
thing,
yeah, that's,
What can I do
I
next?
went, yeah,
one-liners.
I don't have that.
years ago.
Three-liners.
I have some talents. I'm okay with my hands for some things. I wanted to see about papering, how to paint. I cannot paint. I'm not good at wallpaper. I went to Home Depot they gave a workshop.
Workshop, yeah.
And the guy stood up there, and he said, in all seriousness, he said, do not wallpaper with your spouse.
Yeah.
He said, people have gotten divorced, through wallpapering with your spouse. And it's humorous, but he said, in all seriousness, do not wallpaper with
See,
your spouse.
I have no problem with delegating for cleaning Pesach.
Yeah,
My wife goes to work, and I take care of the house. That's
there
it.
you go. So,
She's busy. I take care of everything else. So, yeah.
and she'll be happy.
so anyway, so
There's
this
always
is, so shalom bias is a real thing. Have you ever had a case that people got divorced because of the wallpaper? Because they go, okay. Okay, don't go to Home Depot. All right, so now we're at 6:30, page 630 near the top. We will return to our topic.
To return to our topic, just as the hair of on the head of Ari Hampin is like white wool, so is the hair surrounding his yesod also white. This is alluded to by the white wool of sheep, for all the hair of the Holy Ancient One is white. It was this wool that Abel offered as a sacrifice, as our sages said.
The what?
The wool. The Holy Ancient One is the term in the book of Daniel to refer to the vision identified in Kabbalah as that of Arich Ampin.
1 minute, let me get that.
It's in every, Shabbos,
Old face.
Friday night.
There's a face. Old face. something like old face, Erichampen.
Ancient one, yeah.
Ancient one,
Ancient
old
one.
face, ancient one, old face, something
Well,
like.
Arich Anpin means long
Long
face.
face,
Yeah.
But
The
Zeranpin.
the ancient one is
Atik
ancient days. Atik Yomin
Atik Yomin.
is the other part of Keser.
Yeah,
But these are from Daniel.
okay.
One moment, please.
7-9 it says. Daniel 7-9.
7,
thanks.
9, yeah.
Interesting that Atik Yomin is inherently something that has to do with time, and it's being applied to infinity.
But Erichampen, the ancient one,
Doesn't
is
seem like a
white.
fitting name.
White.
Okay, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylonia, Daniel saw a dream and visions in his head upon his bed. He then wrote down the dream and told the major parts. I saw in my vision at night 4 winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea. 4 immense beasts came up. First was like a lion, it had eagle's wings, and so on and so forth. Another beast, a second one, similar to a bear. There were 3 ribs in his mouth between his teeth. Another beast like a leopard with 4 birds' wings on its back. The beast had 4 heads. A 4th beast, exceedingly terrifying, awesome and strong. It had immense iron teeth. It was devouring and crumbling, and trampling with its feet what remained. It was different from all the beasts that had preceded it, and it had 10 horns. Watching too much Alfred Hitchcock. I was contemplating the horns. Another horn, a small one, came up among them. 3 of the previous horns were uprooted before it. There were eyes like human eyes in the horn. I watched as thrones were set up. The one of ancient days sat, Atik Yomin. His garment was white as snow, the hair of his head like clean wool. His throne was fiery flames, and its wheels blazing fire. Okay, so that's that.
What's the word for wheels?
Galgal? Galgalim?
Gal Gilohi. It's not Hebrew, it's Aramaic. Gal Gilohi. Galgal is Hebrew for wheel also. And it's talking about Denur. That's fire. The fire, the river of fire, Nahar Denur, is also here. So a lot of the stuff, a lot of the phrases in Kabbalah are in this little section.
That's interesting. I wonder what he ate before going to bed.
That's right. Last time I ate
Who he ate?
hot, right, chili, who he ate. Okay.
All right.
So this is what it says, that this is why the white wool is it's a term. It's from
Okay.
Daniel's
Now
dream,
read the next one.
as is the ancient days. Okay, go ahead.
In contrast, the wool of Zerampin is black as a raven.
Hold on. So that
You-
was Arechanpin, which is in Keser.
You didn't read the quote. The whole,
We did.
Yeah, you
That's
did.
where we got to.
And the
That's why we went to the book of Daniel.
Zeranpin now is
Yes, sir.
is Tiferes,
Mhm,
Yesod.
the
So that
emotions.
wool is black as a raven.
It
38.
says she's song of songs. I don't know. Interesting.
Go ahead.
All right. It is only the upper, that means the facial beard and head hair, that turns white when he grows old. He then emulates the supernal grandfather. But in his youth, his hair is black. His hair turns white only in his old age, as he approaches Arinhampin, whose Yesod produces Zer and Pin's intellect.
Zeranpin's intellect.
What? The intellect of the emotions? Okay.
Well, they have
It's
a
a
Immature.
parts. It's a parts of. It's a partsophy.
Immature.
one
Alright.
moment, please.
moment.
38.
No,
Oh,
he's never mature. No hope of that.
We're
You're-
we're online.
I don't know. I
guys.
still tell you ways to go.
We're online. It says here, Rosho Kesempaz Kivutso
You're
Sov
young
Taltalim Shchoros Karev. Oh, we already had this. Remember we spoke about the locks of hair?
Yeah.
We had it a few weeks. I don't remember which parsha. Probably a couple years ago. It says here, his opening words were finest gold. His crowns hold mounds of statutes. written in raven black flame. Their translation is not a literal translation. The translation here is the midrashic translation, the nimshal, what it alludes to. His head, literally, his head is like the finest gold. His locks, that's it. His locks of hair are taltalim, I think is curly or braided, and dark as a raven. So that is the hair of Zeir Anpin. Now you know.
As Zeir Anpin matures, he ascends in a spiritual level and approaches Arich Anpin. Arich Anpin is called the grandfather of Zeir Anpin, whose father and mother are, of course, Abba and Ima,
Wow.
Chochmah and Bina.
Chachma Bina. Okay, Jim, would you hold on? Yeah, Jim, would you like to continue?
Sure.
Bottom of 630.
But the lower, the pubic beard of Zeir Anpin always remains black, even in his old age, for even then it remains distant from the whiteness of the holy ancient one, Erech Anpin. And from my flesh shall I behold Hashem. Yo. This verse is used here and throughout Kabbalistic literature to mean that since the phenomenon of our material world are derived from their spiritual antecedents, we could deduce things about spiritual worlds by observing the material world within given limits and parameters, of course. Here, the psychological behavior... Physiological. Ah, interesting.
And Freudian slip.
Yes.
That's good psychology.
There you go. That's what I was thinking. Here, the physiological behavior of our body hair as we age alludes to spiritual truths in the supernal world.
Maybe it's a metaphor, but
What?
that it turns
Yes.
white because we are ascending spiritually.
Yeah.
So we hope. But
Okay. Could be.
Okay, so it's just it follows that Abel, we're back to Abel again. It follows that Abel's offering, okay, aroused the supernal das, okay, and thus
And this.
in this increased the power of das of Zeir Anpin and allowed, the spirit of the 52 name to return to Malchut, to her Yesod.
What does that mean? I think it means what
The
Cain disrupted.
It disrupted, but it...
What Cain disrupted now,
but it
Hevel's
vol-
offering
Yeah.
is restoring the 52 name
It's
to
restoring
Malchus.
it because the supernal das, which is higher than the das of Zeir Anpin. I would assume the supernal das comes from Erech Anpin, but I'm not sure.
He explains here. It says like this. Hevel's offering was from the white wool that was from Arech Anpin,
Yeah.
the high white wool
Yeah.
of the sheep, which is called Yesod of Arech Anpin.
Right.
So that's in Keser. And then this inspired supernal das in the mazel of Arech Anpin. Okay, I don't know what that is. And then it was able to influence or to flow into Zeir Anpin.
And return.
And with
and
this,
return-
and with this, it caused an increase of flow into the Yesod of Zeir Anpin. And with the increase of flow into Zeir Anpin, the Yesod is what is the part that joins, that meets up with Nukva, with the feminine aspect. So the Yesod unionizes or
Yeah.
joins with Nukva, and then restores, supplies what I guess what had originally been there, and what Cain removed.
Return to femininity.
This das,
This type of,
this
das
extra das is able to restore.
to restore the femininity. It has to be, to return to Malchus.
Connection to
To her
Malchus.
yourself.
What?
Connection with Malchus, yeah.
Whoa.
So it restored her spiritual connection. The same way we have the spiritual connection we have both in us, the feminine now was connected back with her spiritual connection to Yesod, not up to a place she shouldn't be.
Back where she belongs. In the in the corner office,
Good save.
Oh, boy.
Good save.
in the Oval Office,
Okay.
Good
wherever
save.
that is.
yeah.
Okay, Yoel, would you like to go ahead? 631 in the middle.
Sure. This is the mystical meaning of the verse, and Hashem turned to Havel and his offering, but to Cain and his offering he did not turn. To explain, this wool descended from the supernal dot to Zer Anpin, which is permeated by the 45 name.
45 name corresponds to Ze'er Anpin.
The combined numerical value of 45 and the word for wool, tzemer, is 375, the same as that of the word for turned, sha'ah. Thus, to Cain and his offering he did not turn, but he did turn to Havel, for it brought it down into Malchut. It is incredible that he derived this from. It's unbelievable, unbelievable.
Yes, we've been
You can't
suffering
imagine
through
the
this.
Hashem
pro- the
turned to
process.
Abel.
No, I'm saying the process that
Yeah, I
that
understand.
Like, we don't-
Rizal,
What's
that's
unbelievable?
He's just
the process that he went through to understand this.
Because we have had a lot of this. I don't know since the time that you've started coming, but this kind of thing, this
have it all the
number and
time.
that number and this number
Yeah,
equals.
Oh, yeah. That's
It-
that's
it's
We've
the-
had that.
It's the Alan Lerman law.
Allen's rule.
Yes.
You have to learn Allen's rule. It
Whatever you wanna
means
prove,
it
you're gonna
always
prove.
works.
He has
Always
to be
works.
constantly he had to have been looking into every pasuk for these.
He didn't have to look.
He didn't have to look.
He knew where to find it.
No.
He
No.
was
No.
he
No.
was there. He was there. He's giving it
It's
to
so
us.
obvious. It's like, of course it's going to work out like this.
Yes.
Allen's law.
I think I
Everything
mentioned
works.
It's amazing.
a year ago, I've mentioned a few times, a year ago, I was at my sister's house. They had a guest for Shabbos. I'm there, I don't know nobody. Well, so this guest was the first time there. They bumped into him that day or that week. He was in town because his father was in the hospital, wasn't doing well. His father passed away a week or two later. Father wasn't doing well, so he was around. And then he came for Shabbos to the meal. And on the one hand, the guy was off. But on the other hand, he started talking, and he started talking about this.
Oh,
I think he learns with someone in New York, possibly where your brother,
I know exactly.
Has a
who it
connection,
is.
connection.
What's his name? What's the guy's name? David?
I don't want to say now on the thing. So
Is he
we're
bald?
on here.
I don't want to say here on the ring recorder.
I know who he. I think I know who he
Probably
is.
not. But anyway, maybe you do.
I know who he learns with.
Yeah,
I know
it
who
could
he
be.
learns with.
So this guy, anyways, what was this whole thing? He started going up the whole thing on Shin Ayin and Sha'ah, Shin Ayin Hey, Shin Ayin, and all the words connected with it, and parsing the words into like this and this. So this was the theme.
Yes.
This word was the theme of his, and he was just going on and
That's
on.
Reb Milstein, Shlita.
Could be.
Reb Milstein.
It could be. All right, so that's what we have here. So in your own words, what did we just say? What numbers and words did we just put together?
We put together Zer Anpin with Semer spelled out, which equaled 375. which is
Semer is,
Sadi Resh. Sadi Mem Resh.
which is
330.
330.
Plus
Semer
45, which is Zer Anpin.
330.
375.
Plus,
What is
so
375 equals Sha'ah, which is represented in the pasuk when Hashem turned to Havel's offering instead of Cain's.
and that's the
offering.
word for turn. We have a few words for turn. And so they choose this word. And it didn't have to say turn. Could have said Hashem accepted.
Was
Hashem
Makabel, yeah.
received. Hashem listened. Hashem smelled.
Turn.
I'm trying to think if we have any other place where it says that Hashem turned to the offering, and I think not. But what was 45?
Zer Anpin.
The 45 of Hashem.
Zer
The
Anpin.
45 Nevim of Hashem. Shem
Oh,
Ma.
I thought you just
Mem
said
and
that
Hey.
45.
It's the 45. It's the 45 name of Hashem.
Oh, Ma is for.
We talk here. We use primarily 4 numbers for Hashem's name:
Yud Hey Vav.
72, 63,
26,
No.
45,
45.
and 52.
52.
In that order. The top is 72 for Chachma, Bina is 63, and then the Ze'er Anpin is 45.
Which is Ma.
Memhei, we call it Shem Ma, the 45
Isn't that
name.
Chachma? Koach Ma.
No. Chachma is Yud.
It's different.
Vav, Yud, Hey. Hey is Bina.
Bina.
And Vav is Zeranpin. Hey is Ma.
And that's 45, and the lower Hey is 52.
Gotcha. Okay.
So 45 represents Ze'er Anpin. So 45 and 330
45
is now 375 is Shinai and Hey, Sha'ah.
Now, why is Zer Anpin referred to as Ma? This is kind of probably going.
I don't
backtracking
remember.
for you
I don't
guys.
remember. I don't know if we,
Said why?
right. And all the things that we learned, I don't know if we
I
said
don't
why.
think we've had that.
Well, that's
had
a
Za.
joke I have with my daughter. I said, emotions, what are they good for? What problem do they solve? Ma? You know, it's like,
Ma.
yeah. What? What emotions? They don't believe me.
All right.
She's emotionless.
Okay,
Here we go.
so
No,
he
I'm
turned.
emotional.
Okay, so this is where Hashem gets.
You're
This is where the result. Okay.
They're pure
As we have
emotions.
seen,
This indicates that Hashem's turning to. Oh, I skipped all this.
You
Okay.
read this.
As we have seen previously, Zer Anpin is associated with the 45-letter name of Hashem, i.e. the name Havaya, spelled out such that it is numerically value is 45. That's not Ma.
No.
You just said it was Ma.
What?
45 is not Ma, is Havaya, is Yud-K Vav-K spelled
It's the
out.
Vav.
It's the short,
So
the-
here,
the-
Yoel, 1 second here. Okay. I think that's the one we want. The Yud and the Hey and the Vav and the Hey is 26,
Yeah.
but we expand each letter. So the
Yeah, yeah,
Yud becomes
yeah.
Yud Vav Dalet,
Right.
and so on.
Right.
So, and with different spellings, so one of these expanded spellings is 45.
Yud-K Vav-K is
Yes, 45.
45.
Okay, so, but no, but what I was thinking before when you said Ma. Okay, fine. Okay,
I would leave Ma.
no problem. All right.
Cool.
Tzemer is Tzadik Mem Rish. 90 plus 40 plus 200 is 330. 330 plus 45 or Yud-K Vav-K is 375. Sha'ah, Shin Ayin Hey equals 300 plus 70 plus 5, which equals 375. This indicates that Hashem's turning to, i.e. taking notice of and accepting the offering was because it drew the wool, 330, the Yisod of Arach Anpin, into Zer Anpin, 45. Hashem did not turn to Cain's offering because he withdrew the wool from Zer Anpin, i.e. he subverted
Zoom.
Bless you. He subverted the process by which divine consciousness and energy is transmitted into Malchut.
Big in gematria here. Big.
45.
Okay.
Oh.
UK Vav-K's. Zeranpin. So UK, okay. So UK Vav, wow, look at that. You're going to an Porsche here.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't yet.
Okay, Alan? Rounding third and heading for home.
Thus it is written, if you mend your ways, it will be forgiven. Meaning,
Hold on. This is what Hashem spoke to Cain after he killed Hevel. And he said, is my sin too great to bear? And Hashem said to him,
No. That's not, no, he said this before he killed Hevel.
Before he killed him?
He said, why are your face sad?
Right.
Why are you sad?
right,
And then he says,
before he killed him.
right.
Before.
Hashem said, take it easy. Okay.
Can-
Chill.
Zeranpin is Yud-K Vav-K, right? We're saying 45 We're saying 45, which is.
No.
So, okay, I'm just trying to understand, right?
What's the question?
The question is we just said that Havaya is spelled out with the certain.
One way will give you 45.
Gematria is 45, which is related to Zeranpin.
Which is the third.
Well, when you expand the spelling one way, it comes out to
45.
72, which is Chachma, and we're corresponding to the Yud of Hashem's name. If you expand it a different way, it equals 63, which corresponds to Bina and to the first Hey of Hashem's name. If you expand it a different way, it equals 45, corresponding to Ze'er Anpin
Or Vav.
and to the Vav of Hashem's name.
Now I understand.
And if you expand it a different way, then it is 52, and it
Malchus.
corresponds to Malchus.
Okay, that's
Final
what I,
head,
that's
the
what I
final
needed.
head.
That's what I needed, that explanation. Okay, I'm good.
Okay?
Yes.
Right. Thus it is written, if you mend your ways, it will be forgiven. Meaning, so far you elevated the 52 name of Malchus, which is its feminine water, and you uprooted them from their proper place. But if you mend your ways, it will be forgiven. That is, you can carry and elevate feminine waters as is proper.
Hold on. If you improve, it will be forgiven. The word for forgiven is to lift or elevate. There was also one of the words, there was also one of the types of tsaras was se'es, which we translated to mean to be blown up and arrogant and hubris.
Hubristic.
Hubristic? Is that the? Okay. So if you uprooted the 52 name, se'es, that you lifted it up from its proper place, where it shouldn't be. But if you mend your ways, it will be you can carry and elevate feminine waters as is proper. You can do it the right way. Okay, go ahead.
The word for will be forgiven is se'es, which literally means it will be carried, borne, lifted. The imagery is that of Hashem carrying the weight of the sin and atoning for it, or of him bearing the consequence of the sin, rather than it being borne by the sinner. Here, the literal imagery of the word is it will be lifted up. That is, Hashem tells Cain that he can indeed reconstitute the divine order by repenting of his misconceived plans, submitting to Hashem's vision of how male and female should function together, and thus allow the female to raise and elevate her yearning, her feminine water, to the male, initiating the process of their coupling and ensuring the proper continuation of their continued existence and fulfillment of their divine mission together. From all this, we can understand the prohibition against shatnez and why it is permitted in performing the commandment of tzitzis.
It was 2 weeks ago. And we've been in a lot of places.
That's where we started from. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I started with shatnez, yeah.
So I understand. So you don't mix linen because it comes from flax
And wool,
and wool.
because it comes from the sheep.
Yeah, because the wool and the flax.
Keep going.
But is it
Keep going.
permitted in the tzitzis? I didn't know that.
So a wool baguette and
Wool-
a linen,
Yeah.
linen
Yeah.
techela, linen
It is permitted.
strands.
They're together, not into.
They're not
They're not.
intertwined.
They're not
Tied
into,
up.
They're
Is
not.
that
They're
correct,
not.
though?
They're
But
not
they're
in the
there.
same.
Correct.
They're not in the same thing that way as
Right.
like a suit would be or clothing,
They're,
but they're in the same garment.
Correct, that's.
Rabbi, I spoke, that's correct, no?
I wasn't listening.
You're allowed
You want to say again?
You're allowed to wear a wool baguette for your tzitzis with linen.
Tzitzis.
Tzitzis, yeah.
What it says is, it goes like this. Really, the tzitzis are supposed to be the same material
Baguette.
as the garment. Although I think wool can do for anything. But if the garment is a different material, then the tzitzis should be a different material. if the garment is linen, then the tzitzis are made of linen. However, the tcheles that you mentioned, the blue strand,
Can be-
tcheles by definition is not just the blue color, but it's wool.
Right.
It's the wool that's dyed blue. So then you would have the tzitzis made of linen, because the garment is linen, and the tcheles would be wool. In that case, it's permitted.
I didn't know that.
Hmm?
I did not know.
I'm 90% sure. I should go double check.
No, no, I trust what
So-
you're saying. I just didn't know.
I'm telling the mic.
Oh.
Mr. Mike.
I'm gonna go just take it to the bank just
So,
yet.
uh,
So
I
in the
want-
beginning, all we said in the beginning was that not to mix the wool and linen.
Yeah, yeah.
It's explained in the context of mystical dimension of the sin of Cain and Abel.
623.
Yeah.
Huh?
623, I was just pointing out.
And now we're 632.
Yeah,
it
the
starts
mystical
out wool and
incense.
linen.
So now we know. Now we know what the idea of wool and linen is.
Yeah.
That the linen. Oh boy, the linen was the idea of the Malchus, the 52 name leaving, it being elevated, and then the Cain's sin, and then the wool is
Fixing it.
It's the
Hevel's
rectification.
restoring,
Yeah.
repairing.
Rectification, yeah.
Yes. So therefore, they can't be. It says here, therefore, they can't be mixed. And why is permitted in performing commandment of tzitzis?
And how was Keves connected to the 45?
How's
letter
what?
name? How was the sheep connected? Keves. How is the sheep connected to? Was it the 52 letter name or 45 letter name? 52 of Malchus. How was?
The sheep is Ze'er Anpin and the 45 name.
So by stimulating above, by bringing the keves and stimulating above, he's fixing
but
he's
it
fixing
got
he's
higher.
fixing the 52. He's
Read.
fixing-
It went to Erechim.
Do you mind if that I'm turning?
No, go ahead. Go.
What page were you pointing me
I'm
to?
trying
Read
to
what?
find
I'm looking.
Kabash. Keves. Keves is in 628.
Abel's offering
Read-
allows a supernal das.
Read 631, the first bold paragraph.
Abel's offering, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what you're talking about too? Yeah.
It follows that Abel's offering arouses supernal das. The supernal das. We're talking about the das of Eric.
Hevel's
So that's what I'm
offering.
saying. His offering stimulated above,
Yes.
and then filled in what was improperly elevated by
Correct.
Cain.
Yes.
Yes.
So probably, I thought we said it somewhere else also, maybe not. Well, probably remember that Ze'er Anpin has to couple with Malchus. It needs to do it in a mature fashion, and we said that the word mature means where
Intellect is mature.
their intellect is involved.
Yeah.
And it's not just, I could say, not just an animalistic act, with emotion, animalistic act, but it's also done with a caring, with a love, caring for the other person, with the mental aspect involved, with the intellect involved, with an understanding of the other person.
You see the other, you understand the other, so it isn't just self-satisfaction, which is the problem. It could be, there's no other there. It's just self. It's self, and that's locked into the Zerah. That's locked into itself. It's self-satisfying. So it needs to have the understanding of another from intellect and the supernal.
So
Avima.
that needs to be involved in the union of male and female. The intellect needs to be involved in the union, even though obviously it's an emotional,
Right.
it's an emotional
Interaction.
interaction. So when it's done when it's done in a proper manner, then you're also able to draw from from Arich Anpin.
Yeah.
And that's what Hevel was working on. He was tapping into the Arich Anpin, and through that he was able to restore, to help the Malchus restore,
Yeah.
restore its
be
place,
restored.
its femininity.
Yeah. To be restored. Yeah.
Does that answer your question? Or at least did you forget your question, hopefully?
Or did I think of so many more?
I forgot.
Good.
I will throw two questions out there. Then.
Naturally.
First, why are we? I guess tzitzis is applicable to us, and that would make sense why the Rizal is speaking about it here. But why isn't the Big Day Kahuna mentioned also? Is the same Inyan that like of something that's with
Explain your question.
the Big Day Kahuna is
Yes.
a combination of linen and wool. There's
Yes.
linen and there's wool.
I think
There's a linen
The
tunic.
belt,
There's a linen tunic. and
the
there's a
sash,
wool-
linen tunic,
There's a linen tunic.
and
And there's a wool garment also. No, the wool is somehow I forget.
the sash. The sash perhaps was wool.
Over it.
But it's different, they're not,
I think.
They're not the same.
they're not the
garment.
same.
Yeah,
Not
but
the
You
same.
we're-
can't benefit. You
one
can't
wearing
wear
on
them
top of the
together.
other.
You can't benefit from that.
I think so.
The only way you can have them together is if you're selling them and you're not, and they're up on a rod. And you're not doing
No,
it.
I think what it means is woven together.
There's
You
all
can't- you
kinds.
also
I
can't-
don't remember the
you can't-
details,
I can't be
but it's
wearing
more.
a shirt that's wool right now and this is linen. I
But
can't be doing it at the
a
same time.
seller can't put them over his shoulder,
That's the
like
example.
those Mexican guys,
Because he's benefiting from it.
because then also it's
He's benefiting.
It's
So he
providing-
pulls it up
it's-
on a pole.
anyways. So why he doesn't go there? Maybe the same thing would apply.
And then the second question is do you think that Cain and Hevel knew what they were doing when they did this? And that's a deeper question.
It says that Haman built the gallows 50 cubits because he was trying to plug into the level of 50 also. Did he actually do that consciously?
There's a line in Mishlei.
gotta-
I think Cain and Hevel, I think, probably had a good idea of understanding what creation was about. And they probably did.
Had
Yes,
kavanah with
they
it.
probably were
There's an
aware.
amazing line in Mishlei says that Peshel Adam mina Shemayim. The mouth of a person is from Shemayim. I don't know if I had learned this in a sefer, or if it was my own understanding that when you interact with someone, that person has bechira regarding what they say to you. And it was, from their perspective, it was happenstance. They had just come to you and said whatever they said. But it was hashgacha pratis that Hashem orchestrated that you should come exactly to this person, and whatever this person was feeling or thinking that day, they said it to you, and it was exactly what Hashem wanted you to hear from this person. So this person had bechira, but the whole time it was Hashem orchestrating the whole event.
According to your father.
Absolutely.
So,
Definitely.
Free
so
will is
it
overrated.
may very well be. What I'm
Yes.
saying is with regards to this, do you see what, I don't know if I'm conveying my thought properly or I'm articulating it properly.
Yes, it's all by design, yes.
It's all by design.
Yes.
No, my point is that
Were they
the
aware
person
of
who's speaking is not
Were
aware
they,
that
were they
Hashem
conscious?
is.
Were they conscious? I think they were.
It's
They were
likely-
incredible beings, way beyond, our conscious state.
Well, yeah, of course.
Sure.
course.
I think they were conscious, and yeah. I mean, I'd assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah, very likely, especially them, especially at that stage
mean,
in the
you
world.
know.
It's also interesting that this is, if you mend your ways, it'll be, meaning so far you elevated 50, and it says, but if you mend your ways, it will be forgiven. That is, you can carry and elevate feminine waters as is proper. And Cain, after he murders Hevel, he says, is my sin too heavy for you to carry?
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any connection there.
This word, nasa, to lift or to carry, is used in a number of different contexts. We use it in nosei avon, that God bears sin, which means or bears iniquity, which means that he fancy word for forgive. Ki tisas rosh, when you count the people, means to lift, literally is to lift their heads. The, as I said, the tsaras is called se'es, a puffiness, perhaps.
The arrogant one, yeah.
It could be called a puffiness. So this word is used in a lot of different contexts. It could be translated a lot of different ways. But it's all related. All right. Yes, I don't see why. Oh, I should point out that what's written here is a selection from, it's arbitrarily selected from the writings of the Arizal. So it's quite possible that in the original, or the originals, because this is from two books of the Arizal, Shar HaMitzvos and Tameh HaMitzvos. So it's possible that in
It's the author's
what?
selection.
It's possible that in the original that it elaborates more,
Correct.
but here, and what's here, it does not talk about
And I would
the
assume
tzitzis.
we would know it.
Okay.
We would know.
We would.
Yeah, just
Over
like,
our head.
The Alter Rebbe goes like, as seen previously. It's like, well, I've been reading the book from page 1. Not in this book, not in Tanya.
Can I go back to where we started 2 weeks ago? Sure. Cain elevated the letters used. I'm on 625. Cain elevated the letters used to spell the 52 names in Malchus up to Tiferes, the feminine water. This name must always remain in Malchus in order to raise feminine water, so that Malchus can receive the supernal light as male water, both of them remaining within her, and this was the sin. And Cain did not simply intend to raise the feminine water, but rather to remove it from Nukva,
Yeah.
returning it all the way to its source in Ze'er
Yeah.
Anpin.
Eliminating, cutting the connection.
So he sought to remove the 52 name and the feminine water from Nukva.
Cain sought to make the feminine into a male, so to speak, forsaking its divine mission and destiny, and to drive the drive to concretize divine consciousness in the world, and remaining in abstract realm of Ze'er Anpin, the emotions per se. That's why I said before that he was evil.
We've come full circle. Jim,
Yes,
we've come full circle.
yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Okay. So this concludes Parshas Kedoshim, and Pesach will have 4 years since we began. I'm gonna, okay, folks, well, hopefully,
Once a month it should
I'm
be.
him, but first I want to say that hopefully this will live with us, will extend, will stretch into our,
To our life,
as we return to the
to the world.
real world.
So corporeal world.
Yeah, okay, good week, everybody.
Yeah.